Hi, friends. In our time together today, I want to talk about how correct fingering using alternate fingerings, breath pressure, and tuning your whistle all marry together in helping the tone with which you play. And then, to complicate matters, this differs from one whistle to another. So what I want to do in our time together today is I'm gonna jump into many of those a bit. I'm not going to do a deep dive into tuning your whistle, but I do want that to be on the table so that you're aware that that's part of the conversation. I'm going to revisit the fingering chart because that's really important for us in understanding appropriate fingerings for playing the whistle. It's funny, Marty and I've had, I love how conversations that we as a community have, I love how they lead to the things we need to talk about more. Marty and I were emailing back and forth yesterday. Hey, Marty, thanks. And we're talking about playing the C sharp and the C natural on different whistles and how that can be a bit of a challenge sometimes because you've got your favorite whistle that you're always playing and then you pick up another whistle and that other whistle doesn't play the C natural the same way your favorite whistle does, and you love this new whistle that's supposed to be your new favorite, but you've got to figure out how to play the C natural. And doing that, not just with a C natural, but with many notes, can be a bit of a challenge. And I'm going to use the MK Pro for my example. There are, the fingering chart tells you there are specific ways to play notes. On a D whistle, to play a D, you cover all 6 holes on the first octave. Notice I said first octave because if you're playing the second octave D, you take the top finger off, and the fingering chart says all this, and you blow a smidge harder and you get, or you leave all 6 fingers down and you pay a little bit more attention to your breath pressure. And the fingering chart walks us through all the notes to be played. The challenge is that fingering the holes you and I cover is a primary factor in the notes that are played. We've talked before about every whistle's unique. Every whistle is a series of certain compromises. And this is displayed in how some notes are played. So, you get to the C natural. First off, the fingering chart talks about all this. The C natural on the first octave, like if I started a G, that next note is a C natural. Now, the fingering chart will tell you you could do this, holes 2 and 3. That sounds okay. The fingering chart will also tell you you could do the second hole. Ooh, that doesn't sound as good, does it? The fingering chart also says 4 other ways of doing it. Here's one. Cover holes 2, 3, 4, and 6. And that's okay. Now that doesn't mean, the fingering chart does not mean that every whistle you pick up, no matter what it is, I've got a bunch of whistles here and I could go through each of them, but we don't want to spend time in that. The fingering chart doesn't mean that you should be able to play the C natural using all of those fingerings. The fingering chart means your whistle will play the C natural well with one of these fingerings or a couple of them. And if you don't know what to do, the easiest thing on the C natural is to half hole the first hole. because C natural is somewhere between the B and the C sharp. And you do that by uncovering part of that first hole. Oh, not enough. There you go. You can find it. Every whistle you and I own will potentially be different. If your favorite C natural fingering is holes 2 and 3, don't assume that when you pick up another one of your whistles that the proper in tune C natural fingering is holes 2 and 3. It might be different. And that led to this whole conversation Marty and I were having that was really, really pretty fun. Now, you see, the importance of the conversation is playing the whistle in tune. And that's why I started off saying that there are many factors to playing the whistle in tune. The first one is when you get a whistle, if it's tunable, you need to figure out where it's in tune. And Joey and I were talking yesterday. We ran down a crazy rabbit trail. We were talking yesterday about which note do you use to tune your whistle? You know, are you going to use that? This is a D whistle. Are you going to tune your whistle to a D? And we were ruminating. Do you tune it like to the second octave D? What do you do? Because interestingly, and I'm not going to give you an answer on this because it is individual per whistle. I was told very on in my journey, because I got the MK Pro pretty early, I was playing it, and I was playing it with the tuning slide all the way in. And somebody said, a friend said, community's so good. A friend said, hey, I see you've got the tuning slide all the way in. You're playing the bottom octave in tune, but when you get into the second octave, what you're going to find is the second octave's going to go sharp because of the amount of breath pressure required to play the second octave in tune, and to play the second octave, period. And so you won't play the second octave in tune unless you pull this out just a smidge. I think I had it around there. I don't have a marking. So tune on your MK Pro, tune your lower octave just a smidge flat so that when you get to the upper octave, that the second octave will be more in tune when you're pushing it. You see, that underlines the importance of fingering. Find the correct fingering for your specific whistle as to how your whistle, your MK Pro, your Burke, your Howard, your Carey, whatever it is, how that whistle plays like the C natural, for example. And learn that. But also, if you want to play in tune, back to my conversation with Joey, you need to learn generally how to tune your whistle. So when I tune a whistle, I don't just find like the bell note, that bottom note. I don't just tune that. I tune that one. I leave the tuner. I use an online tuner. I don't have a favorite. I walk up. I'm looking at the tuner. I'm listening with my ears. If a note sounds funny, and then I'm doing that with a second octave because you've got the combo of correct fingering, like there is one way to play the E, but there's not just one way to play the C natural, and you've got to know what's right for your whistle. Then you need to see if it's in tune, and so you adjust your tuning slide depending upon that, and then, there's so much. Then you learn the correct breath pressure. So when I'm playing, this is why I use the MK Pro. If I'm playing the low E, if I breathe really gently, I hear an E, but I hear a flat E. There's a correct amount of breath pressure to get the E correct. Now it's important to learn what notes sound like so that when I hear that, I could say, that's close enough. And I'm increasing my breath pressure a little bit. On the MK Pro, and every whistle's different, I can't use the same breath pressure in the second octave to play it in tune that I do on the first octave. It's not just a matter of you need to learn the right breath pressure to play the instrument at all. Like, I need to learn the breath pressure to play those notes because the MK Pro, I have to increase my breath pressure. I believe it's starting around the F sharp in the second octave. I need to learn the breath pressure appropriate to play it in tune. So, the right fingering, tune your whistle, the right breath pressure, and the appropriate alternate fingering for your whistle to play in tune. That's an awful lot of stuff going together. And that's why this is a journey. I am learning with every whistle I own more about playing the whistle because each one's different. I'm not going to buy every whistle with the same breath pressure. I'm not going to buy every whistle with the same responsiveness and fingering. I'm not going to buy every whistle with the same tuning. I've got to realize that. I've got to learn that. Now, even if you have just one whistle, let's say it's the MK Pro, even if you have just one whistle, you have to learn to tune the thing, this whistle. You have to learn which alternate fingering, like what fingering plays the C natural in tune. What is the most accepted place on the tuning slide for this whistle to play in tune top to bottom? Every note is not the same, so you're going to have to compromise. What's the breath pressure you need to play bottom to top this whistle in tune? And you're doing that with every whistle you own. So I'm resharing a link to the page on my website where the fingering chart is. I keep the fingering chart handy. Sure, I know it, but I don't want to forget something off of it. So when I get a new whistle, I check each. I'm using the C natural as the example because that's a primary one actually. I check every C natural. And I've given up even trying alternate fingerings on the second octave C natural. I just simply half hole the second octave C natural all the time because that's the easiest way to get that right. But the first octave C natural, I run through all the options. I keep the fingering chart handy and I know what to do. That's why I just want to remind us, I want to have that available to you. And we'll expand it soon, but I just wanted to revisit this. My friends, I hope this is helpful for you. Please like the video if it is, if you're checking us out because of this reminder and this bringing together of all these very important factors. You want to play the whistle well? Learn all of these and learn them over time. If you're brand new and checking us out because of that, then please subscribe and join our phenomenal community of folks learning to play the whistle together. Until next time, this is Scott Shade. Happy whistling, my friends.